We're continuing to work with special characters. So I'm going to go to that N dash section under the hyphens and dashes. And then I want to select that text from December 15th to January 2nd underneath the N dash subheading. Now I want to use the Insert panel. So I'm going to switch from my Files panel to the Insert panel. Make sure that you're in HTML. Then I want to select Character. If you don't see that option, you can go to the Insert menu at the top of your screen and select HTML. I'm going to highlight the dash, Insert HTML, Character, and now select the N dash. So now it's just replaced that regular hyphen with the N dash, which is a little bit longer or wider. You can see in the code view now that there's a number that's been assigned, so that is the number code for an N dash. So rather than just memorizing that number, you can use the Insert panel and just go to the special characters. So InDesign has provided the code for some of those special characters, so you don't have to know the code, you can just select it there in the menu. Then we want to do the same thing for the hyphen in the equation. Just use your Insert HTML character and select that N dash. And then we want to do the same thing with our M dashes. So we use the longer or wider dash, the widest one, to separate word groups, or also to, if you're quoting somebody, you can use that to set apart their name. So we're going to replace the double hyphen with the M dash this time. And then you can see the code in the code pane for the M dash. Then we're going to do the same process for our copyright symbol. So I'm going to select the copyright symbol and use that Insert panel, look for my special characters for copyright, and you can see the code for the copyright in the code view. And I can delete the parentheses. And then you can do the same thing for the trademark symbol. So you can go ahead, I'm going to copy the copyright symbol. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the registered trademark symbol, and then the same thing for the regular trademark symbol. Now we want to learn how to create a table. And tables can be very helpful. There was a time where a lot of websites were designed using tables kind of as column and row format. So we're going to use a table to actually place some information and some data into the table format using the special characters for quotation marks. So look for the quotes and related characters paragraph. So after the quotes and related characters heading, I'm going to hit a return. And then I'm going to use that Insert panel in HTML and select Table. So now I have the option to select how many rows and columns I want to format this table with. So I'm just going to select 2 rows and 2 columns. I'm not going to input any values here for the table width and thickness and padding. I'm going to select the top row header option, and then I'm going to type in quotation characters under caption, which is going to be the title of my table, and click OK. So now you see you've got a table with the quotation characters, title, 2 rows and 2 columns. So I'm going to click inside the upper left cell and type in character description. Press Tab to move to the next cell to the right and type in character. Then you can see in the code view that the tags are being added here. So I've got a table body tag within the table container tags. Then I have the caption tag for my title of my table. Within the table body tags, I've got table row, and then the scope with the text inside those tags for that specific column. And then the table row, and then the next table row, I haven't added the text in there, so it's just a non-breaking space tag. So now I can go put my cursor into the next cell and type in my next row, and I'm going to type in double curly quotes. Hit tab, and then I'm going to choose some quote marks for my double curly quotes. So I'm going to use that character panel again under Insert HTML Character and select the left quote, curly quote mark, and then hit space, and then I'm going to insert the right one. So select the right quote mark. Then I can hit tab and it will automatically insert a new row of cells. Then I can type in single curly quotes, hit tab, and I want to go to Insert HTML Character, but this time I want to select Other and look for the single left quote. Click OK and space, and then do the same thing to select the right single quote. So we want to use those curly quotes or the smart quotes instead of the prime quotes. Those are reserved for the inch and the foot marks. So hit tab again, and now we're going to type in double prime, inches, or seconds. Hit tab, and then we're going to use the code pane this time to insert the prime quotes. So right now you've got that non-breaking space code in code view. So we're going to replace that with the ampersand prime code. And you can see the code hints is showing, giving you that option. I'm going to hit return. And then we can see in design view the prime quotes appear. So you can go ahead and finish out this table using the textbook. So the next cell is going to be single prime. And you can do the same method. For the single prime code, it's the ampersand with a lowercase p in prime. And I'm just going to move this paragraph below the table. I'm going to cut and paste it right before the table and delete my extra space. So then we're going to insert some more special characters using the code. Go to the multiplication sign heading under special characters and select that X for the multiplication sign. And now we're going to go to the code view, and it's highlighted. It's a little hard to see there, but so it's highlighted in the code view. And we're going to type in the code here. So instead of the X, we're going to type in the ampersand time abbreviation. Then the code hint will give you the code for the time symbol. Hit return, and now it's replaced it with the time symbol. So I'm just going to copy and paste that symbol to the next instance of the times. And then we're going to move on to stage 4, creating lists. So we can create an ordered list or an unordered list. So an ordered list would be numbered, and unordered would be a bulleted list. You can see the options in the Properties panel with the unordered list and then the ordered list down here below. So at the very bottom of the page, I'm going to move my Properties pane up here under Resources. We have one item in a list, in an ordered list. So we're going to add to that list. So place your cursor in that number 1 item under Resources, and then click the Ordered List button. And now it's added another one because now it's numbering this paragraph. So if we hit a return, and we can type in some more information, and it will assign it with the number 2. So we can go ahead and just delete the extra number and type in HTML, entities, and other resources at W3 schools. So if you select that text and hit the ordered list button, in the first bulleted or the first numbered item, select the URL for a list apart, and we're going to cut it by doing a Command X or Edit Cut. Then delete the brackets. Select the text for a list apart. So rather than writing out the URL, we're just going to link it to this text. So in our Properties panel, we can paste in the URL for alistapart.com, and now it's hyperlinked. Add a space after the period. So this would be an absolute link because it's linking outside of this website. So it's going to link it to another website, another URL. Then in the second item, we're going to link the W3 schools text. So select that text and then type in, so when you're linking a URL, you have to type in the http:// www. Then the name of the website. And now that website URL is linked to the text. Now we want to create an unordered list for our navigation menu. So I'm going to hit return and hit return again to get rid of the ordered list. And then I'm going to type in my unordered list. So I'm going to click on my unordered list button. Now we see the bullet point, and type in ATC home, return, excerpts, projects, and portfolios. So this is going to be my navigation menu. So I'm going to have 4 web pages. I have my home page, my excerpts, which I spelled wrong, my excerpts page, projects, and portfolios. So I'm going to highlight ATC home, and under my link, I'm just going to type in the number or hashtag symbol, and that's because these are going to be relative links. So I'm just going to link this to my home page within this same website. Same thing with all the rest of the navigation menu. So once I add that link tag, then you can see in my code view that it adds the ahref link tag, which shows that it is going to link it to another web page. But I haven't created those web pages yet, so I'm going to just add it as a link for now, as a hyperlink. And so it shows up with the hyperlink style. I want to go back later though and replace that symbol with the actual URL that has the HTTP followed by the rest of the URL. So you want to place that complete URL in there, or if it's a relative link, I can use my Files panel and then just point it to that HTML page and then replace it with the symbol. So this is just kind of an anchor for now. It's like a placeholder so that I know it's going to be a hyperlink, and I'm going to go back and actually link it later. So these links will not take me anywhere right now. It's just a placeholder. So don't forget to go back, if you do that, to go back and replace it with the actual link by typing in the name of the page. So for example, if I'm going to link this to my index page, I would actually type in index.html and just delete that symbol in front of it. And so then in the code, you'll see that the ahref tag is now pointing to or linked to the index.html page. So that's what you did in the rentals assignment. When you linked to the pages within that site, then you would have properties.html or contact.html, whichever page you were linking to in the navigation. And then you want to make sure that every page on your site, that the navigation menu is linked on every page across the site. So we're going to go on now and finish up in stage 5, where we're going to actually now add our CSS file to add some styles to this web page. I'm going to move up, scroll up now, and go up to my first paragraph and select from my heading down to the Ogilvy on advertising. Then I'm going to use my insert panel. I'm in HTML and I want to select the header tag. So select header. I want to wrap around this selection, so whatever I have selected, I'm going to wrap the header around there. I'm not going to assign a class or ID a selector at this point. Just click on OK. And now you can see in the code that it's added the header tags around the H1 and that paragraph after H1. Now I move my properties panel so I can see all the way down there. So in the next paragraph, quotes and related characters, scroll all the way down, but don't select your navigation unordered list items. So right after your resources, so all of that is highlighted. Now I want to select a tag to wrap around that selection. So in my insert panel, again in HTML, now I want to select the section tag. I want to wrap around selection. I'm going to click on OK. So now I've added the section tag from that first H2 element all the way down to my resources ordered list items. And there's the closing tag for the section, for that section. So this is really important because once I add my CSS style sheet, any style that has been attributed to my section tags, it will apply that style to that section and to the header. So now I want to add a tag for my navigation menu, so I'm going to select my unordered list, go to my insert panel, and now I want to select my navigation button and wrap around that selection and click OK. So now I've selected where my navigation tags are going to be. The last thing I want to do is add my footer tag. So after my unordered list, I want to type in my footer text. So I'm going to type in against the clock, and I'm just going to type it in right in the code view right now. Against the clock. I'm going to add the pipe and a phone number and an email address. Oops, and I put that in my navigation tag, so I'm going to delete that or cut that and make sure that it's not in my navigation tag. So I'm going to put it, move it so that it's after the navigation tag, but within the body tag still. So you can see that in the code view. So now in the Dreamweaver design view, you can see the footer is outside of my navigation tag section, or navigation container. And now I'm going to highlight the footer text and select under my HTML insert panel footer, wrap around the selection, click OK, and now I've selected my footer container tags. Now I can switch to live view, and you can see in live view that there's still no styles added to this page. So I need to add my CSS style sheet. So I'm going to go back to my files panel, and you can see that in my root folder there is a styles.css file. Now I'm going to go to CSS Designer and select all, and now I can add my CSS source. So if I click on add, I can attach an existing CSS style. So select browse and go to your root folder and select that styles.css sheet. Click on open and add it as a link. Click on OK, and then you'll see some styles now added to your page. We still want to add a tag selector here. After you applied your CSS file, click to select the quotes and characters and related characters subheading. That whole section now is highlighted in code view. So remember, we added the section tag there. Now we want to add an ID selector. So using the Properties panel, open the ID menu and select Excerpt. So this is, if you go to your CSS Designer panel, you can see that there are different selectors that have been added onto the CSS style sheet. So this Excerpt ID selector, if you select that and click on Show Set, it will show you the formatting for this selector. So everything that has been given the Excerpt tag, the ID selector, will be set to this width, and we'll have this padding around it. So there's specific formatting that has been added using the Properties panel here within CSS Designer. So we'll learn how to add properties and add selectors later. But for now, it's already been done for you by Against the Clock, and so we just need to assign this section by giving it the ID selector assignment Excerpt. And then that formatting has already been done. So if you switch from design to live view, you can get a more accurate view of what the site will look like. So this is what your page should look like once you've applied the CSS style sheet and you've added that excerpt tag, selected the excerpt ID selector to the section tag. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, your type won't be readable because that adds this white background. So it's a 750 pixel width frame with, if you select the background color, it has been set to white. If you don't select the Excerpt ID selector, you won't be able to read the text over a white background. It'll just be that red background showing behind it. Now you've completed this web page and you can go ahead and export it. So if you go to your Manage Sites dialog menu, now you can export this as an STE site. So if you wanted to export this site, you would click on the export button and then export it as a new site name. Save it in your root folder. Then once you've saved it, you can export the site from Dreamweaver, but then you can go back and import it again.